we're about to head out on the lake, and it's going to be storming, raining, nasty weather. We're going to have to change how we fish. We're going to have to stick and move to keep up with the fish. Stay tuned. This one's exciting. You could see the storm was going to roll in. It was cloudy, it was overcast, and it was perfect conditions to throw a topwater. I was throwing this Strike King Sexy Dog around. I caught a couple really nice fish. Got some pretty good one. Even started. I only had about an hour to fish, so I went onto a flat. It had a little pocket in a flat. I caught fish down in that pocket, closer to that little bit deeper water. Ran to another pocket, caught some more fish. Small gash on the bottom of him, like maybe a turtle got at him, something tried to eat him. Poor guy. And then the rain hit, and I just had to suck up under a dock and take shelter for a while. Storm. We've caught about 5 or 6 fish this morning. We've got 2 keepers, 2 good ones in the box. Probably have 5 or 6 pounds with 2, which is a good start on this lake. Like 15 pounds normally wins on this lake, so we've got a good start. We're just gonna wait out this thunderstorm. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about on the radar. So we've got some red headed our way. I'm just gonna wait out that little red blip, and then once we get back to green and we feel like we can go out and not get struck by lightning, we're gonna get back to fishing. And the rain doesn't bother me. I don't mind fishing in the rain. The problem was the lightning. I don't mess around with lightning. I'd rather not get struck by lightning just to catch a bass. So I ended up hanging out under that dock for about 15 to 20 minutes. Once the rain had let up, I kept fishing. Once I went back out from under the dock, I started throwing the topwater lure again, just right off the bat. And that actually was very unsuccessful. I didn't get any bites on the topwater after the rain. And after a really heavy rain and lots of lightning, fish basically sucked to the bottom. But they were so shallow that I thought, man, they have to come off the bottom to eat this topwater. But they really just didn't. And so right before a storm, barometric pressure is really low, and then after the storm it's going to be higher than it is immediately before. And so before the storm, it's kind of just a feeding frenzy. Fish kind of go crazy, and they're really, really active, and they feed up a lot. Now, once the storm is passed, directly after, they kind of just take it easy for a little bit, get their bearings, let things come back to normal. And so when the storm had let up, it was actually really tough fishing. So I did a couple of things after the storm hit to try and keep getting bites. So I threw a square bill crankbait, right, which I thought would dig on the bottom and get some bites, some reaction bites, but I caught no fish on the square bill crankbait, which surprised me. Then I went to a spinnerbait, okay, and I threw this spinnerbait. I actually lost my blade. So this spinnerbait is pretty much donezo until I get a new blade for this. But I threw the spinnerbait, no bites. Spinnerbait is always kind of a staple in the rain, and it just didn't produce any bites. So I was like, well, I'm going to really slow down now. So I picked up a rage bug, just a Texas red rage bug, and I catch fish on this rage bug all year long. It's really a fish catcher, but it did not work. And so I was like, well, I'm running out of options as far as different styles of baits to throw. I was about to go out deep and fish, but I decided, let me try one more thing. I've just got a little feeling. Let me pick up this little finesse jig and toss it around. And I started getting bit on this finesse jig. One thing that is very key about this finesse jig is it has orange. Okay, it involves orange. That mimics two things. It mimics a sunfish, which has an orange belly, and also mimics a crawfish. So in this part of the country, when you flip up a rock in the lake and find a crawfish underneath it, it will have orange on its pinchers. So this little orange trailer, it's called Alabama Craw. Okay, Alabama Craw does a very good job of mimicking sunfish and crawdads. And I believe that this was very, very key to me getting bites on the finesse jig. There are a lot of crawdads in the fall time that start getting more active as the water starts to cool off a little bit. They get up there shallower. And a lot of people call it a crawfish spawn. I don't know if they spawn or not. I really completely, honestly have no idea. But I do know that there are crawfish that are active and shallow, and bass feed on them. And this finesse jig just did a better job of imitating a crawfish. And one thing I noticed that was key about this bite was that fish were not eating it on the fall. They would eat it off the bottom. And so this bait would fall and my line ties here, and I would keep tension on it, so that would naturally make the bait fall back like this, and it would sit on the bottom just like that. And a lot of those fish would already be hunkered down, sucked to the bottom, and I believe the orange caught their attention as it fell, and then boom, it rested just like this. And there's a little bit of orange on the tip of these little pinchers here, if you guys can see that. And the fish would just come by, pick it up off the bottom, and start swimming with it. Another little guy. Two-ouncer. Here we go. Oh, that's a 9 out of 10. No splash, clean entry. A really light bite, a really slow bite, kind of a finicky fish situation, but I was able to capitalize on it. And guys, one takeaway from this is as things change, as conditions change on the water, you have to change. So I went through and I threw, topwater, spinnerbait, crankbait, rage bug, and this jig. So I threw 5 different lures. And on the 5th try, I got something that would catch some fish. So never stop moving, never stop changing. Sometimes it's as simple as changing the color. That's going to make all the difference your next day out on the water. Thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned for the next one. Little guy. Little guy. Come on. Are there's little ones? There's big ones.